In 1980, I was lucky enough to buy a resort with a big marina in the Florida Keys for American Susan Ball. And I was 32 at the time, and I thought, how hard can it be? Well, it was very hard. And I didn't know anything about marinas or anything about boats or anything about the people involved in advertising and writing about marinas and boats. So I was lucky enough to have a guy named Dick Bradley come up to me on the docks shortly after I bought the place. And he introduced himself and said he wrote for motorboating and sailing. He had a monthly column about living on his boat in a marina, and he'd like to move to Marathon to Ferro Blanco and write about it from there. And I went, wow, this is really something. He also said that he would introduce me to everybody important in the boating world, that he knew them all, and that he would make sure that they all came down to Ferro Blanco and saw the place and would write about it and advertise it and make it a wonderful place to live. So I snapped that up and thought it was really great, and went home and told Krista, we just hit the jackpot. This is wonderful. And shortly after that, he told me that the most important people that he knew were on their way down to the Keys, and he had invited them to come spend the night at Ferro Blanco. And the next day, in comes a 75-foot motor yacht, antique, varnished, painted, chimney, very spectacular. And they pulled up to the dock, and Dick said, they're here, they're here. They are the royalty of yachts, of yachtsmen. You got to meet these people. They will change your life. So we went out, and it was Bill and Patsy. And they did. They agreed to stay for 4 or 5 days, and we wined them and dined them and tried to make them happy and tried to make them like us. And then at the end of 5 days, I think it was, the marina was full. They had to leave because they had the biggest boat in the marina. And they got Dick, who had just moved there on his 53-foot boat and had 50 feet of dock, to move out so he had 20 feet of dock. And they took 30 feet of dock and stuck out in the other direction and decided to stay a little longer. 20 years. 20 years. And then they moved to New Smyrna, which is the second jackpot. But anyway,
love that hat.
It certainly, Dick was truthful when he said that they knew everybody. Patsy raced cars. Bill was a writer for magazines in the boating world. They had sold boats to the Kennedys. They had sold boats to Crosby, Stills, Nash. They had sold boats to the mamas and papas. They knew all the people who manufactured, wrote, photographed, did anything in the magazine world. And they were determined to introduce me to all of them and make us famous, which they did. Bill turned out to be, Bill Bolling. He's got a few sides to him. He's got the rough and tumbles, eat them up, spit them outside. And he probably got that through his life as a stuntman in the Hollywood movies and the TV. And he was a boat restorer. He was a boat captain. He was a pilot. He had a seaplane. They just did it all. There was nothing missed. They worked hard all day and then partied hard all night. They had an accumulation of friends that just continued and continued and continued, all boating people. Patsy grew up on a wooden schooner. Her father was the last schooner captain to haul freight. So she was born into it, and Bill had picked up the interest in antique motor yachts and sailboats after he had given up the marketing business with his father. But he had done it all and was more than welcome to share it with me and be my mentor in the advertising world of yachting. He also had a very soft side to him. He loved animals. He spent hours a day with his big cats. He had 2 cougars. He had weasels. He had cats, dogs, birds. Bill and Patsy together loved them all and take care of them and do that. He walked on the beach. He collected stuff that he found on the beach. He was a writer. Before the computer age and before cell phones, if you wanted to know anything, Bill was Google. He knew everything. I don't care what you asked him about, where it was in the world, how long ago it happened, he had the answer. If you wanted to spell something correctly, he knew. If you wanted the right punctuation, he knew it. He was just a brilliant kind of guy when it came to writing and knowledge. And he seemed to just have it all. Whether he's bullshitting us when he did it or not, I don't know. Because I don't know the answers to it, but it sure sounded right. And then he had his crazy clothes. You know, everybody knows about Bill's crazy clothes. And behind us in the boat is an outfit that Bill wore on every special occasion after, I don't remember the year, but we all went to Bangkok, Thailand. And when we got off the plane, Bill and Patsy were dressed in their outfits that they had made to ride elephants, and that's his outfit. And they were holding a sign, Kelsey, at the airport like they were the dignitaries of Bangkok. And then he wore that outfit all the time. He loved it, and today that will go up in smoke with Bill. So Bill was a very special guy to me and a very special guy to a lot of people. I thought that I was special because he was a mentor in many different things in my life. But I found out that he was a mentor to an awful lot of people. Every boat that they built, they had a gang of people that worked with them. And all those people changed because of Bill Bolling. All those people learned how to do stuff and become adventurous and learned how to just deal with the world as it was. Bill was a no shit kind of guy. If you rubbed him the wrong way, if you wronged him, stand back. You were going to get it. If you were a good friend, he would help you every way along the way. He even took on the United States Coast Guard. and he didn't win financially, but he won. He changed the rules for the United States Coast Guard in the early 80s. And it was an awful battle, but he actually won. So he was that kind of guy. He also really loved this area of their property. And he spent hours a day working out here, making all these exhibits. And he called it the Mombasa Trail. And he would take you on tours. Many of you here have been on many tours. And he had all these gags and goofiness around. But he really loved having this area here. And I can't tell you how much I've learned from Bill Bolling. And I feel that if he were around today, he'd still be teaching people how to have better manners, how to stand up for their rights, how to make everything that you do as perfect as you can do it. He was that kind of guy. So my hat is off to him. I didn't really know what I was going to say tonight, and I tried not to go to bed drunk like I normally do, and have a straight mind to dream what I was going to say about Bill, because he was such an important figure in my life that having this talk I figured would be very hard, and I wouldn't be able to make it through it, but I am. I'm getting there. Dick Bradley, the guy that introduced me to Bill, died, and Bill had done many services at sea because he was a captain, and I assisted, and we buried Dick, and Dick and Bill did many practical jokes, outrageous practical jokes on each other. Bill would do anything for a laugh, and no matter how hard it was or how long it took, he would still do the laugh. But Bill and Dick were really on each other, and when Dick died, Bill climbed down the ladder and got in the water and spread his ashes, and there was a plastic bag. And when he came out of the water, he reached up on the railing, and I was standing there, and the bag blew up in between his fingers like balloons, and then popped, and Dick's ashes went all over his face. and I went, he got you. Last time. So, Bill, if you're here,
he's here.
Don't make this fire go any further. We don't like the guy next door. But please save us from any practical jokes that you might want to pull on us. He's a great guy. Patsy raced cars her whole life, and Bill loved watching her race cars and supported her heavily. And he used to wash the windshields. And one time Patsy was in, she could change the transmission, the engine. I did the body work. We worked the pits, and Patsy's changing the engine on her car, and she's bent over the hood, and she's pulling the engine out. She's got her suit pulled down around her ankles, and Bill looks over at me, and he goes, "Being married to Patsy's just like being married to a man." He was so proud. And she could change an engine and beat the guys in the corners.
That's good.
So,
That's great.
Amen.
she drove a Mini. Then she drove a Winston Cup car, which she wrecked every weekend at about 10,000 a clip, and it got very expensive, and I got very tired of fixing it, so they gave that one up. But what else did I want to say?
You're doing good, Jim.
Yeah, I know. I'm holed up. I'm doing all right. I'm not failing at all.
Oh, here comes Patsy.
Are you going to say
This
something?
is Bill's
Looks
wife.
like another guy.
She's going to say something.
She said, how could I possibly not do that?
For the Easter Bunny.
This is what Patsy has dreamt up for us, and I'm sure Bill would be very much with us on this. So if everybody's got a toast, a drink of some sort, I would like to perform just a off-the-cuff toast to Bill Bolling if he's here.
He's here. Yeah, he's here.
Thank you, Bill.
I would like to say this is the one hell of a guy that was a true individual, ran his own life his own way, did his own thing. The people he met lived with Bill the rest of their lives. He was a man amongst men, and I know that when I met him and I saw what kind of a guy he was and how much adventure he had in his life, and the boats and the planes and the cars and all that stuff, I know I wanted to be like him. But there is no being like Bill Bolling. He's one of his own. So here's to Bill Bolling.
Yoo-hoo! Cheers.
Drink up.
Yeah.
Round of applause.
Woo!
So now we're going to have a little celebration that may take your eyebrows off, but
I think we better move back.
if you did bring something,
I know why
a
this
note or
table's
something that is small, and you want to put it in the fire with Bill, about Bill, we have little envelopes with his ashes.
Aww.
They're in a box.
Over there by the...
Okay,
The
they're in a
effigy.
box there. You can pick it up and add your little note to that box, and take a flower if you like. And when this happens, we will do that. So talk amongst yourselves.
So everybody, we have a great party.
And be ready
It's
for
to
this.
honor our friend Bill, very famous man, and we're gonna light this boat on fire. And I think everybody's kind of freaked out that it might catch something else on fire. We are out in the woods, by the way. So we're not in California though. We're in Florida where there's plenty of rain, right, Nika? It hasn't rained yet, though, so I'm going to come back with the lighting of Bill's effigy, okay? So hang with me. I know that was a long speech by Jim, but he can really talk. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you in a minute. Let's go.